Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. And I'm Jeff Sophiea. I'm one of the partners here at the company. You might have seen my face before. I am super pumped up for this one. I have been all week because it's different. It's something where we know that everyone wants to make better hires faster. I mean, I think that's obvious, right? No matter where you're at. And so we came out with Ideal Interviews. It's one-way video interviewing earlier this year. And we wanted on this webinar to bring on Vlad, a good friend of mine personally, and someone who's been using IdealTraits to make hires and has a very successful agency out in Texas. So Vlad, I want to turn it over to you. I want this to be all content for them. And I'm excited again to share what we got going on here.
Yep. Look, everyone who's on this call is looking to hire. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. I opened up an agency less than a year ago, and we have 12 people on the team. We have 4 more that are coming on board in the next 30 days. And I wouldn't have been able to do it as well without IdealTraits. Now, we've hired a lot more people, and we cut ties very quickly if we realize that we made a bad hire, but we've prevented a lot of bad hires because of IdealTraits. And my goal is to continue hiring. This time next year, we'll probably have 30 team members at least, if not more. The first 15 are always the hardest. So second year as an agency owner, goal is to do 30. The following year, we want to double that and go to 60 and continue growing. And look, I know that may sound like a big number to a lot of people because it is, but why stop if your team members are paying for themselves? And one thing I'm always thinking about is how to make my recruiting process more efficient. And how can I avoid spending even 5 minutes on a candidate who is not worth my time? So I've hired a person on my team who helps me with a lot of the recruiting, and her time is extremely valuable to her and me. And I don't want her wasting time on interviewing people who we don't like. So that said, what I'd like to do is demonstrate how we've been using the one-way video interview function that IdealTraits has made available to its users. And I'll also show you a few examples of good and bad use cases on my end and how it went well and not so well, and just be very transparent with you guys. And Jeff, anything that you want to add in your end, feel free to jump in at any time. So what I'll do here is I'll just say this, that we have a job post that is always running on Indeed for sales, for service, and then recently we have put up a job post for a admin position. And we get hundreds of applicants every week, not per month, every week, because we spend money on advertising on Indeed. So when you get 100 applicants in a week or more, you can't interview 100 people by phone or in person. So what we do is we look for that top 5-10% of people who stand out, who are studs, who just by looking at the resume, we know we want to talk to them. So my recruiter calls them right away and does a preliminary pre-screen, and then we send them the IdealTraits assessment. So that's what we do with our very best candidates. And then you have those people who you know right off the bat, they're not going to work out. So for us, it's people who have switched their jobs many times in the last couple of years. If someone doesn't have history of employment because they just got out of high school or college, that's fine. That we don't red flag those people. But if there is something obvious that we don't like about them, we'll go ahead and archive them right away. So we have our top candidates, top 5, best case 10%, and we have our bottom 10% that we know what to do with. Now that middle 80%, that's where you can find some gold if you approach it correctly. And this is speaking from experience of doing this for now a while, not just for my agency, but other agencies. I've been recruiting, Jeff, as you know, for other agencies for several years, not just farmers agents, but all state independent, State Farm. And we've improved our process quite a bit. And what I found was that middle chunk of people who have okay resumes, if you just call everybody and pre-screen everybody, they're going to say enough good things on the phone to where you're going to feel like you need to do an in-person interview with them. And then they come in person. They might even do okay in the assessments, but then you're wasting time meeting with someone that you shouldn't spend time with. So all that said, what we have is with everyone who is on the fence, meaning they're not great, they're not bad. We send them the video interview link. Sorry for the sound here. Let me just turn off my notifications here.
You're good. I thought that was me, Vlad. I'm like, stop.
Nope, that's me. Yep, that's me. Sorry. Okay, so I'll show you how we use the video function and how simple it is to use. Tara is asking, and Jeff, if you see questions pop up, let me know.
Absolutely, I'm on it.
But okay, Tara is asking, are you referring to hiring for sales, service, or account managers? So right now we're hiring for both. We're good on the service side, but we have someone who is going to be leaving us for a couple of months, going on a leave, and then she'll be back. But I always want to be ahead on the service side. I don't want to play from behind. So here's what I'll show you guys here. And I don't want to waste a single second on things that won't help anyone here. So I have applied myself here. I set up myself as a candidate just so everybody can see what the video interview function looks like. But basically, anyone who applied today, so look at all these applies. This is just from today. So we have this candidate that applied. I'm going to resend the interview. Catlin. So all these people I would send a video interview to. Now, here is what I want to show here. Let me just not filter. Okay, so when a person receives the invitation to do a video interview, they will be prompted to answer whatever questions you ask them to answer. In this case, the 5 questions that I have is what interests you about the position offered? So the candidate will see that question and then they can answer. And it looks something like this. Jeff, let me know on your end if you can hear this.
All right, this question is, what interests you about the position offered?
I know that guy.
Yeah, and it forces it to be at least a 10-second video before you can stop recording, which is good. People have to give a more thorough response, but it caps you at 2 minutes. So the response has to be between 10 seconds and 2 minutes. Now, for the sake of this particular demonstration, I didn't want to use any real candidates just because I feel like we'd be crossing the line a little bit, but I will play a video on my other screen and you'll listen to the audio and you'll let me know what you think of this candidate. But this is what it would look like. You have the videos right here.
This question is, what are 2 examples of work-related tasks that you do not particularly enjoy doing?
I don't know if I ever told you this, Jeff, but this is my favorite question that I like to look at in Ideal Traits, because here's where a lot of the truth comes out. So I'll play an audio clip of a candidate that
I was just going to say, I would love to hear what you'd like for the response.
Yeah. So this particular candidate, if you look at her work history, she was a project coordinator at ADT prior to that, and she's currently employed. She was at Protection 1 for quite some time, and she's been moving up. So she was a lead before that. She was a account management specialist, same company. Before that, same company. She was a coordinator. Then she was support specialist. So she's been with the same company for a while. And I like a lot of the things from her resume, but this is how she answered that question. And I want everybody to listen to this and let me know how you feel about it. Do you like the answer or not?
As far as work-related tasks that I do not particularly enjoy, I would say the atmosphere of misunderstanding and miscommunication. A lot of people have problems or issues due to miscommunication, due to just not being able to understand what the problem is at hand. And then emotions can get tied into that. And it could just be a down spiral from there. So I would say those are my two examples of my tasks that I don't particularly enjoy doing, but I also enjoy the challenge of those tasks because it also helps me improve with my communication and communicating to others my mis.
All right, I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah. Interesting. I never heard that one before or seen it. You know, how it's a short answer on there. It was like a trick question. She turned it against, the business owner was like, you know what? I still enjoy doing it because I'm facing adversity, right?
Yeah, she was saying atmosphere of miscommunication. Look, this is a rambler who cannot speak clearly. If you don't like working with difficult people, like who likes working with difficult people? Realistically, no one, right? But you got to be able to communicate in a way where, especially if you're applying for a service role, which is what she applied for, you can't say that if you're applying for a service role. Most of your days can be spent with people who are not calling in super happy about something. So you have to have a more positive outlook on life. So
It's like dealing with angry customers, right? And then part of your day is dealing with angry customers in service. So I agree.
Yeah. And her short answer, I'm not going to show it right now, but they were not bad. They were not bad, but the video told me a lot more. I'm going to play one more. Similar situation, great resume, and short answer responses were good. Her problem solving was really high. She scored a near perfect 15. And then she had a good personality that we're looking for the CSR role. But this is what she said for the same question. The question was, what are a few things that you do not particularly enjoy doing?
Two examples of work-related tasks that I do not particularly enjoy doing is taking accountability for something that I didn't do. There are times whenever I go above and beyond for the customer or client, and there's something that is not within my control, whether it's another department or someone else, and I have to say that it was me that the reason there was the fault. So that's something I don't particularly like doing. And another thing is kind of along the same lines of picking up other people's workload. I know I love to be a team player, things like that, but it's just being taken advantage of at the same time.
What do you think? What do you guys think in the chat?
Yeah, so Vlad, can we get some responses going here? Because I thought that was an interesting one. Anyone on here, what was your thoughts and really what was your takeaway? Would you want to pursue this candidate?
Taking accountability for things I didn't do, and also picking up other people's workload, being taken advantage of.
Passive aggressive, complaining about prior job. Jose, blame others. Sally, no. We have to do that more often than not. Customer service is mostly cleaning up when they have a bad experience. True.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's not someone I don't think I would pursue.
Yeah. Yeah, and I played an isolated one question. You guys know nothing else about this individual, but she crushed it with everything else. I mean, if you would see a video of her, she's someone that attractive, someone that I think you would always want to have on your team. But I think a lot of times people look at those things, and resume and background. Also has a good background, great problem solving skills, no grammar errors in the short answer. And the other questions she did really well, but this one did not do well. So for me, this is a hard pass.
That was a good answer by Jose. That's one I wanted to say, but I couldn't really think of it. She said victim mentality, right? If you looked at all these videos that she did. I mean, maybe that's kind of what you got from it. And we all know with our experience, it's like,
Yeah.
that's definitely not who you want to hire, right?
She did well with the other questions, though. Did really
Right.
well with other questions, but this to me is a deal breaker. So the reason I like this platform is that she didn't mention any of that in her short answers in Ideal Traits as a written response. Again, everything about her was good except for this one question. So to me, hard pass. So I have worked with people who are not team players and they are just a drain. And I'm sure you guys have encountered people like that as well. So for me, it's a hard pass. I don't care about your background, how good you are at insurance. If you're not a team player, if you have a victim mentality, don't want you on the team. So my feedback, this is why you wanted Jeff to do this call, is that this video interview tool is not going to save your agency. It's not going to revolutionize everything, but it will save you a lot of time with you not having to do a phone interview and a Zoom call and in-person interview, because you get to see their responses. And I would challenge everyone who's on this call to at least try this platform out for 30 days. You guys do some sort of trial. Is that right, Jeff? How does that work?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, we actually don't do the trial anymore, but for the people on this call, this webinar today, Vlad, just email me if you're interested. It's jeff@idealtraits.com. Email me if you want to try it out for a month. And that way you can try it out, see what you think of it. I know it's sometimes tough to see something and not actually use it. So I'm going to let you try it out. And then I can help you set up, or one of my team members. It'll get integrated with your system. The cost is $99 a month after that first free month, the trial, and you can cancel anytime. So it includes everything Vlad just went over today and more. $99 per month, cancel anytime, no contract, and then email me if you're interested in trying it out for a month. Couple things, Vlad. We had a couple questions come in. Do we have time to
Yeah.
to answer? Okay. Do you see Tara Simmons' question?
Sarah Simmons, are those applicants CDI licensed already, or do you consider applicants for servicing reps that are not currently licensed? If so, what's your average window of time for training to license management system and insurance lines? Okay, very good question. I love this question because there's, to me, a very clear vision that I have in mind of who I want in the service departments. I don't really care if they have experience selling insurance or servicing insurance. Ideally, I want someone who is going to be with me, especially in the service department, for a long time. So at least a few years. And the training on how to do service will teach them the basics, but I'm looking for someone who will nerd out on this and go above and beyond and create systems in the service team. So as we grow our sales team, for every 6 or 7 sales producers that we have, we're going to have 1 service person. I told my 2 CSRs that we have right now that, look, you guys need to build out systems that future CSRs will come in and implement. So when I was hiring people, I wasn't hiring people who can just do the bare minimum and sit there and answer calls, but they came in with the expectation that they'll have to learn a lot of things on their own. I don't allow them to say I don't want to say, I want to be careful with why I say this. They can say whatever they want to say, but I don't allow negativity in the office. So if service ops is an issue that day, or systems aren't going well, our farmer systems, I don't like them using language around, oh, it's frustrating, or I don't like this or that, our rates have gone up. So just culturally in our agency, we preach positivity, that we don't allow negative talk, because if you say it to yourself, then you're going to believe that, and then other people are around you are going to hear that. So I just don't allow any negativity. And the 2 people that I hired for the service departments are some of the most positive people that I've ever worked with. So absolute gems.
Who are they, if you don't mind me asking?
Alyssa and Megan.
Yeah.
And when you meet them, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
I've heard, you told me, and a few of the employees said speak really highly of them. So I was just curious.
You know how many people applied before I hired those two?
How many?
The first one, we had over 500 applicants. The second one was a little less than that. It was like between 400 and 500 applicants. We went through a ton of applicants, a lot of in-person interviews. We were just looking for a very specific kind of person. The good news with CSRs is that the cost per application is very, very inexpensive compared to sales. With sales, we can bring in a limited amount of people. With service, that's not the case. You need a lot less people there. So to answer your question, I don't care if they're licensed or not. We'll bring them on, and then we'll train them the basics, and the rest we expect them to learn on the go. And
so I just got a question from John. Is there a way for applicants to be able to share their score with other employers? I applied to several agencies and was frustrating having to take the assessment. I think this same John that took an assessment 20 times. So I can see why he was frustrated with taking the assessment. And he says, is there any way that basically you can do it once and apply to other agencies? So for us, we don't allow that. And I know it might be a little frustrating for the candidate, but John, imagine this, like on Indeed, they take a survey and their survey or skills assessment is now attached to the resume. So any time they apply to any agency, a lot of times as an employer, we think that, oh, they took the skills assessment for us. No, they've had that saved to their resume. So for you, I would say still make sure they take the assessment because you want to make sure they're interested in your agency. You know, they're taking 20 to 30 minutes. And I know if they already took an assessment, that can be a rigorous process for them. But at the end of the day, you don't want people just applying, taking 1 second. You want them, I would assume you want them to be more interested. So Vlad, I don't know if you have a take on that. What if you have, I think you make sure everyone takes the assessment before you interview them, correct?
Yes, we do a phone interview with the people we really like up front, even if they don't do the assessments. But once we do like them on the phone, we schedule a in-person interview and we ask them to complete the assessment in advance before they come into the in-person. So when they come into the in-person interview, we would have already seen their short answer responses, their personality, and then we print the results for the personality and we give it to them. And they look at that and they highlight the things they agree with and cross up things they disagree with. And we always tell them that sometimes these are spot on, other times they're way off. So it just kind of depends, but absolutely everybody has to take the assessment. If the personality comes back as, say, networker, nurturer, and the person looks at this and says, look, I don't agree with half of this, then I have them retake the assessment shortly after.
Good question. Yeah, we kicked that idea around a lot, John. So I'm glad you asked. Again, if anyone's interested, email me for a free month. I've already had several people email, which I'm excited to reach out and help you out. Vlad, I did get a couple questions just via email about, is this the same Vlad that runs the insurance sales lab? So yes. And one of them specifically asked about the boot camp. I know we talked a little bit before people got in. Is there any way you can just share that real quick, just so they know if you're coming to their area?
Yeah.
And what that entails?
Yeah. So if you go to insurancesaleslab.com and then at the top you click on events, you'll be redirected to a page which is insurancesaleslab.com/bootcamp. And Jeff, you've been at my events before, and you know that I really dislike fluff theory. I like to just get into the nitty-gritty. You will learn at this event my 6-step script to the one call close. This is a script that I developed as a producer almost 10 years ago, where I wrote over 150 policies per month regularly as a producer, calling old leads, and then eventually it all became referrals. So I had a really good way of starting a call when I'm calling the lead, overcoming opening objections, building value on home and auto, presenting the price, asking for the sale, overcoming objections, and then wrapping up the sale and getting referrals from that client. So I've taught this to thousands of agencies over the last few years. Now our agency opened up less than a year ago. This month we're tracking to do over 300,000 in P&C premium in a state where we have to decline a lot of business. Every day we're saying no to a lot of people due to binding restrictions that we have in our states. I know every state has their own challenges, but if you want to know a sales process that works in today's time, then attend one of these events. We have one in Phoenix, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, OKC, Atlanta, St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis, and we will be hosting them over the next couple of months. You can see the exact dates over here. A lot of agents are traveling to attend these events. So if you're out in Florida, come out to the Atlanta location or fly out to Dallas. So we have a lot of agents who are traveling.
And just to be clear, you are doing a selective group though. We're not doing like 400, 500 for each event.
Yep. These are going to be smaller venues just to keep it intimate. And we are almost sold out in the first few cities. OKC is practically sold out. Houston and San Antonio were almost sold out there. We have about 10 more seats in St. Louis, but we're selling out very quickly. The tickets are $500 per person. And if you're bringing more than one person, so if you buy tickets, the third one is free. So go to insuranceSalesLab.com/bootcamp. I always have a money back guarantee for the things I do. If you attend this event and you don't feel like it was worth at least 10 times your investment, then let me know and I'll give you your money back. So that will be.
If they have questions, can I throw like James or Cindy's email in there?
Yeah. That would be great. You can do James at Insurance Sales Lab. Yeah. And this is what agents are saying right here. You can watch some testimonials, but look, I'm not going to say that this is the best or worst time to sell insurance, but this is a very different than any other year that I've ever experienced. But this is still a good time to be in the insurance business, just as long as you have a good sales process. So if you'd like to attend, then you know the website, insuranceSalesLab.com/bootcamp. That's it on my end. Jeff, if you have anything on your end that you want to add.
I think we're good. I'm sure there's so much more that we could talk about, but we wanted to keep this brass tacks, down. We wanted to get down to business today. So Vlad, again, thank you so much for joining. I thought this was the perfect topic, and keep on keeping on, guys. Keep on joining the webinars. Check out Vlad's insurance boot camp. I think that's going to be super fun, super productive, and I hope to see you there. Have a great day, everybody.
Cool. Thank you. Sally Miller, thank you for your kind comments. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, bye-bye.